the honor of co-chairing the Park Scholarships Class of 2022 William C. Friday Award Committee. On behalf of the Park Scholarships program here at NC State University, I would like to thank all of you for joining us for the presentation of the 23rd Annual William C. Friday Award. We will open with a few introductory remarks and then the award presentation, followed by remarks from today's honoree. Afterwards, we would take questions from the audience. The Park Scholarships program, now in its 26th year, was established by the Park Foundation, a charitable organization named for NC State alumnus Roy H. Park. Since the inaugural class of 25 scholars, the program has grown into a vibrant community of about 160 current undergraduate scholars and more than 900 alumni. The application for next year's freshman class is online, and high school seniors are encouraged to apply. This award is named in honor of William C. Friday, who served as president of the University of North Carolina school system for 3 decades and was a strong supporter of the Park Scholarships program. For the first 14 years of this award's existence, President Friday personally met with representatives from each class of Park Scholars to select the recipient. It is now my pleasure to invite Daniel Haller, another Park Scholar on the Friday Award Committee, to share more about President Friday's legacy.
Thank you, Shannon. President Friday was the 3rd president of the University of North Carolina system, serving from 1956 to 1986. He was a longtime advocate for the Park Scholarships program. His annual meetings with Park Scholars were among his favorite meetings each year, perhaps because he himself was an alumnus of NC State. During his time here, Friday served as Student Senate President and earned a bachelor's degree in textile engineering. He went on to earn a law degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and serve as a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy. In 1956, he became president of the University of North Carolina, now known as UNC Chapel Hill. In 1971, the General Assembly passed legislation to merge 15 state universities and the North Carolina School of the Arts into the UNC system. President Friday was chosen to lead the system. He remained in the role until his retirement in 1986, becoming the longest-serving president of the 20th century. President Friday was a transformational leader in public higher education. Throughout his distinguished career, he modeled public service at its best, marked by integrity, courtesy, humility, and perseverance. He set the standard for the value and importance of education in this state, and we have been working hard to build upon and honor this legacy. Now we will watch a short video from the current UNC system president, President Hans.
Julius Tillery is a distinguished member of the community, and he embodies qualities of leadership, scholarship, service, and character. He's a 5th-generation cotton farmer from North Carolina's Roanoke Valley, an agricultural entrepreneur, an advocate, and the founder of Black Cotton, a business that uplifts the Black community surrounding the cotton fields in Northampton County. He's a man with purpose, integrity, and vision, a man who is rebranding his industry and promoting Black-grown cotton as a profitable, beautiful, and empowering crop. He's also dedicated his career to improving the lives of farmers across both North Carolina and the United States. His investments in our state's agriculture and our Black farmers, who are such an important part of our communities, will resonate for generations. Having personally known President Friday, I can attest to how proud he would be to know that Julius is the recipient of an award in his honor. Congratulations, Julius. We're so grateful to you for your contributions and are proud to recognize your work with the prestigious William C. Friday Award.
Thank you so much to President Hans for that great message. My name is Ethan Scheper, and I have the pleasure of being the other co-chair for the Class of 2022 William C. Friday Award Committee. Each year, the senior class of Park Scholars selects a deserving candidate to receive the William C. Friday Award, which recognizes individuals who emulate President Friday's dedication and excellence in leadership, scholarship, service, and character. Recipients of the William C. Friday Award selected by previous Park Scholarships classes include outstanding individuals such as Norrin Sanford, founder of Growing Change, Tom Ross, President Emeritus of the UNC system, Amy Wright, founder and CEO of Biddy & Bo's Coffee, Maggie Kane, founder and executive director of A Place at the Table, and most recently, activist, filmmaker, and artist Bree Newsome-Bass. This year, we are thrilled to present the award to Mr. Julius Tillery, a distinguished agricultural, environmental, and racial justice advocate and the founder of Black Cotton. After finishing his studies in economics and entrepreneurship at UNC Chapel Hill in 2008, Tillery, a fifth-generation cotton farmer from a native of North Carolina's Roanoke Valley, founded Black Cotton in 2016 to honor his roots and promote black-grown cotton as profitable, beautiful, and empowering. Since then, the business has become one that centers and uplifts the Black community closest to the cotton fields in Northampton County. In addition to his role as an entrepreneur, Tillery serves as the North Carolina State Coordinator for the Black Family Land Trust, a Southern SARE Administrative Council member, and a North Carolina Forestry Advisory Council member. He has dedicated his career to improving the lives of farmers and farming communities across both North Carolina and the entire United States. The Park Scholarships class of 2022 is excited to have Mr. Tillery with us today because of his outstanding commitment to service, empowerment, advocacy, and leadership in North Carolina's agricultural and environmental sectors. We feel that these efforts not only honor President Friday's legacy, but are also representative of the values that our class holds among the most important. Mr. Tillery, it is my utmost pleasure to present you with the Class of 2022 William C. Friday Award.
Don't be shocked, everyone. I'm taking off my mask. I was told I can do this today. I like to talk without my mask on because I have a very rural country accent, and sometimes if you can't see my lips move, you just can't understand what I'm saying. So this is going to be a little bit interactive speech because I didn't make a grand speech. Really, I didn't even expect many people to be here, to be honest with you. I live in Northampton County. There's probably more people in here right now in Northampton County, at least on my road. I would say that. But very glad and thankful to be here today to speak with you all. I'm so proud that you all think so much of me to be able to give me an award like this. So I'm just thankful. In this speech today, I'm just going to do a lot of thank yous. But before I get deep into the thank yous, the very first person I want to thank is God. God helped me get to this place today. My relationship with the Lord and believing in Him and my faith has put me in positions, and I always pray to the Lord just to empower me to be who you want to be. So thank you, Lord, for giving me the power to be someone that people recognize today. So I want to say that. Next thing I want to say is I want to tell you a little bit about how so much connectivity and alignment has happened for even today to exist. You know, like I'm not I don't feel like I'm famous or did anything so spectacular to put me beyond anyone else. I'm just like you all. In many, many ways. But I want to talk about how even today aligns. So we're in Hunt Library, and pretty much to start my journey in regards to where I'm getting here today was probably the move when I first got to the School of Science and Math. I was a kid of Northampton County. I grew up, playing sports and farming. That's what I did, play sports, farm, and I was a good student. And I decided to go to the School of Science and Math because I wanted to accept that greater challenge. I was number one in my high school class, and I wasn't really challenged in being number one in my academic class. I wanted to push myself, and I definitely wanted to push myself after going to a summer program where I connected with some of the smartest students in the state. And I want you all to know here, Park Scholars, as someone graduated from School of Science and Math, you are part of a very elite group of people. So I want, first of all, you give yourselves a hand for being in this room right now, especially if you're a Park Scholar. It's a very prestigious award. So to be able to get an award from the Park Scholarship like this is just very proud. It's a very proud moment for me. But so when I was at School of Science and Math, I actually stayed in Hunt Dorm. And I don't know if anybody here from School of Science and Math. Yes, they. Woo! Oh, we got one. All right, we got two. There we go. So I stayed in Hunt Dorm. So just to be able to come and give this speech in Hunt, library is very special to me. But not only did I stay in Hunt Dorm, I want to tell you how I'm connected to William C. Friday. So I did go to that school down the road, and that wears the light blue. That's fine, you know. I'm a farmer at heart, so I have a lot of love for NC State. I've made a lot of friends, and we're going to talk about that later. But when I was 18 years old and I was a freshman at UNC Chapel Hill, just like any other freshman student, just trying to find my way. And one thing that was really important to me my freshman year was to be able to get my car. How many of you all remember that feeling of trying to get your car your freshman year or your underclass year? It's a very special thing to have your car. And I was one of those kids that always had to find rides at the end of the week to get back home to farm with my dad. Any good weather week, even, all the way up to, recently, I've always lived a life where my main job was to farm, but that was only on weekends or whenever time was. And anything else I did, that was secondary. So when I was at school was cool, but on the weekends, you got to come home. You got to work with farms, work on the farm with my dad, especially any good weather weekend. And so I got tired of trying to find rides back and forth. Anybody that was coming from Triangle, I can try to get a ride with, I would ride back. But my way of being able to have a car was to find a place to park. And if you are closely akin to Chapel Hill, you know about the Friday Center. Anybody know about the Friday Center? Absolutely. So I was one of those kids, those one students that would park at the Friday Center at nighttime and catch the bus back so I could have a place to park at. So I always was back and forth into the Friday Center. Didn't really know who he was. I knew he was important. Now, to fast forward years later, I'm in the Agricultural Leadership Development Program out of the CALS, the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. Anybody from CALS here? Okay, we got some agriculture people. Woo! Actually, when I first started this business of black cotton, it started me talking to farm groups. I didn't just get into this black cotton business. And I tell people all the time, if you're in the cotton industry, you're probably born into it. Am I right? Or how many of you all feel that way? See, I'm a row crop farmer. So I used to go to conferences, and I would talk to farmers because I worked in different parts of agriculture where I helped farmers connect to resources, grants, etc. So they would ask me to speak to farmer groups. So I would come in front of the farmer group and be like, hey, farmers, how y'all doing today? Any row croppers in here? If you raise a row crop, say, woo! Any row croppers? Any? No? No row croppers in here. We're all students. All good. But, when I would be at some of these farmer meetings and conferences, and I would say, we got any people that raise vegetable crops? And I would hear a few noises. If we have any people raise row crops, we'll hear a few noises. And I'll say, anybody in here raise cotton? You'll hear very few voices. And I'll look at those few voices, never any black people. And I grew up in Northampton County. We're the number 2 producer of cotton in the state, which in the county beside us, Halifax County, we're the number 1 producer of cotton in the state. So the Roanoke Valley produces the most cotton in the state. So our area is known for producing cotton. So I grew up knowing a lot of African-American black people that raise cotton. But the number's been dwindling. And, I was born in 86, so I knew about farming in the 90s. So I never seen anybody hand-pick cotton, if that makes sense to some of you all. But I have seen the changes in the traditional, conventional cotton game where it went from the trailers. Like when I was growing, I tell people I'm from the age where we used to walk down cotton. People my age, we would get in the trailer and just walk it down. That was my job, if any of you all familiar with cotton production. So now nobody does that anymore. We have marginal builders that builds, that packs in the cotton to make those long rectangle bales. Or you have a lot of money and you have those nice combines that cost $500,000 that kind of like, puts out the circle bales. I ain't gonna say what it does, but it just puts them out. And if you know, you know. But as a lot has changed in the cotton game while I've seen it. But one thing that hasn't changed much is the end result. What I know about cotton, and for Northampton County and Halifax County, is we produce a lot of it, but we don't see the results of it. We're undeveloped counties. We're 2 of the poorest counties in the state. So I always wonder why we produce all this cotton, and most of the people who work in these cotton fields can't even afford the clothes that we go in these stores to see. It didn't make any sense to me. So, and I've always had this feeling for a long time, and I've always worked on the farm, and I would say around getting into my later 20s, I said, Dad, how do we make more money with the farm? I've tried new things, like I've grown shiitake mushrooms. When it comes to innovation and farming, that's me. And so, all right, so going to my history in regards to agriculture, I got my real start and beginning as a professional in agriculture working for RAFI USA. Has any of you all ever heard of RAFI USA? Rural Advancement Foundation International. So it's a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to keeping farmers in the marketplace. It was my first job when I left A&T grad school in 2009. And this was a very cool job, absolute cool job. And the reason it was so cool is because we gave away grant money that was given to us by the Tobacco Trust Fund Commission, which is a very important group as well. If you don't know about them, look them up. But what we did with this pool of money that was set aside was give out grants to the most innovative farmers in the state. So it was my very first job. When I applied for the job, they asked me, how did I know innovation in farming? I was like, well, I farm all my life. I pretty much farm every weekend. And I could tell you what is this, and I could tell you what's different from what is this. Because I knew how we farmed, but I wasn't really a student of agriculture. I was a student in regards to what I did. Like, I worked farming, not more so as a business, but it was like the chore of mine. But, in regards to doing that chore, I learned the most I could out of it and got the most out of it. So everything I knew was from that work experience of agriculture. So I knew it worked on reality. So I didn't really do a lot of studying agriculture in classrooms, but I knew about what I see in the field. So when I got the job, they knew I was somebody that could understand what was this, but also what's innovative. And I saw all types of innovative agriculture projects. And we're talking about 2009. It was a lot different in the agriculture scene than it is today. We've done a lot of growth. Like in that time, organic products was very controversial. Do any of y'all remember that? Well, people like, and the funny thing we have to embrace in North Carolina is we're agriculturally advanced state. Like, agriculture has an importance here, and it's not about ideology. It's about productivity and business. That's why it's the number one industry state in this. It's the number one industry in our state. It's because our people take the business of it seriously, and it's very family business oriented. So people, giving the best of themselves, not just trying to make a quick buck, but really be sustainable about how to take care of families multi-generation wise. And this is really important, y'all. Very important, because if you ever talk to farmers from other states, things are different sometimes. Like, I tell people in North Carolina, a farmer, he would have two sons, and he would say, hey, we do sweet potatoes, but you're going to do conventional, and you're going to do organic. Now, in Iowa, it may look different. They may say, we ain't going to do no splitting. We're going to just argue about why conventional is better than organic. So it's important that our people understands the value that we have created in North Carolina just by embracing ag business. We're always looking for new, innovative ways to sell our products. That's our North Carolina way. And that's been very important for me because it's allowed me the space to be able to be who I am. People saw that I was doing something different with cotton and didn't want to shut me down. Because I've heard of people in Mississippi and Louisiana, they tell me, hey, I tried to do something like that, and my cotton co-op didn't want me to express myself. They said, oh, it's going to mess up our seeds. They gave all the excuses why not to do it. But in North Carolina, we have a culture of why not? We should be able to do different things. We should be able to express ourselves well, and that's a positive thing. But back into my ag industry work, I'm really thankful today for the agriculture industry in North Carolina because all these partners have been able to create the space that I am today. Like I told you, I worked for RAFI USA. I saw innovation all across agriculture, from beekeeping, livestock, how we market our productions, you name it. But not only that, the next job I had was very important at the Conservation Fund. Any of you all heard of the Conservation Fund? It's an environmental organization that's doing great work, and especially Resourceful Communities Program, in which the Resourceful Communities Program focuses on the triple bottom line: the economic side, the people side, and the environmental side. A lot of work that we want to do, we want to make sure it's triple bottom line to be truly sustainable. Sustainability to me is not just the use of chemicals and genetically modified or organic products, but sustainability can be how do we continue this process and without affecting our earth and our environment as best as possible. So, thinking about triple bottom line solutions has been really important for me in regards to building relationships to build up this ag industry. Because when I first started in 2009, like I said, it wasn't like the way it is, but I wanted to see better in ag. Like, if we're producing so many crops in the Roanoke Valley, our people in the environment, in the community, should be able to see more from it. You know, like when we have a job issue problem where there's no jobs available, we can't constantly complain from a poor area. Somebody has to step up and create something. And, you know, I like nonprofits, but sometimes grants create division and competition over grant money. And I felt like it was very important for me to come from a place of business where we're creating jobs and creating economic value instead of competing with people in my area. Another strategy that I tell people all the time is in my area, Roanoke Valley, I never focus on sales in the Roanoke Valley. Because I believe our area is poor because all the poor people in our area is constantly nickel and diming each other, you know, stabbing each other back, on the back for the extra $5, the extra $10 when we still poor. What I wanted us to do was focus on everywhere else besides the Roanoke Valley. You know, people from the Roanoke Valley tell you I sell my products cheap to them because I didn't want animosity over our products. But everywhere else, I'm trying to get retail. There's a lot of value out here. And one thing I know that's different between myself and my father and grandfather is the way I can sell my products and the ability to be able to sell it. You know, the internet is a magical, beautiful thing, and we have to be able to utilize it for our best sales. You know, my grandfather and father, they produce on our croplands way better than I ever imagined them producing, because you know they understand all the equipment, they understand the chemicals, they know the history of beginning of before Roundup Ready and now into Roundup Ready. However, that's a lot of knowledge that as a young person, millennial, we missing. We don't have the same vocational education that our past generations have. We have to be true and honest with ourselves about this, especially if we want to be able to move forward in the ag community. I think being honest and true to myself is probably why the business is where it's at today. Because I never came in with any big investment money or, you know, had big serious partnerships to blow me up. But what I did was really want to show people what's truly cotton. That's what I really wanted to get to. You know, I've been farming all my life, and I'm ready to farm the rest of my life. But what I didn't want to do was be a sad farmer for the rest of my life. There's so many sad situations in agriculture, the poverty, the accidents. I mean, I've had two farm accidents that was life-taking in my own family. It's a lot of sadness in agriculture. And back in 2009 and the decades before that, we was holding on to a lot of trauma. You know, how we see cotton. I mean, even in my black community, a lot of people feel so much pain in seeing the crop that I just didn't want to continue to do this work and be in shame. Because I even grew up farming, but I wasn't proud to be a farmer. It was like my dirty secret. It was like I go home on the weekend, do this thing, and then I get back out to my real life, you know. I couldn't do that for the rest of my life. And I couldn't make that promise for my son that he's going to do that for the rest of his life. You know, if I understand the importance of a multi-generational farm, because if you're in farming and you're in row cropping, you need to embrace multi-generational farming because it takes a lot of capital. The truth of the matter is, to be able to build a farm business, you need to build off your father and grandfather's, you know, backs, or your grandmother's, or whoever family it is. You need to build off their backs because everyone else is. That's how we getting ahead in America, is we all building off each other. That's something that should be embraced, especially in our agriculture community. Us families helping each other, helping our children, building them up to be able to be profitable is how we all as a state be profitable in agriculture. That's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. We want to be able to have agriculture jobs for the next generation. We want to have jobs, not only just those jobs available for them, but people to be proud in doing this work. Why work in something you just can't stand being in? So I know the cotton industry. I was numb to cotton. Plenty of people, they get upset when they see it. So the most important thing I could do is change the perspective around cotton. I said, I'm not going to be sad about it no more. I'm going to own it. I raise cotton. I harvest cotton. And not only do I harvest cotton, I do cool things with it. And the origin of doing cool things with our cotton crop is it was out of necessity because I didn't want to just not do a business because I didn't have the funding of doing it. A lot of times in entrepreneurship, funding is very important. But for my business, I created my business to be lean. I didn't need any investment money. I just wanted to take what was right out of our field and figure out a way to put it in your hand. And all that took was changing my perspective and changing what I thought was creative. You know, we all can be artists. We all can be creative. That's something that we never embrace much in the arts, in the agriculture world. We're all about production and having the most. And I know my situation as a cotton farmer. I'm the smallest cotton farmer I know. Literally. I don't know any cotton farmers that's smaller than me, that have smaller equipment than me. However, I changed my perspective. You know, I used to tell people that I'm an ant in the cotton jungle. There's tigers, lions, and everything. But what I've done is become Ant-Man. You know what I mean? You know, some people on the internet call me the Puff Daddy of cotton, which is fine. I make cotton cool, I remix it. We make beautiful products. I used to come up with a lot of catchphrases like "Pretty girls like black cotton." If you buy black cotton, anything is possible. You know, all these phrases and meanings to just get people intrigued. But just from the name, people are intrigued because nothing's polar opposites like black and cotton. And a lot of times of what we do, it's not what we do, it's about how we do it and how we're trying to connect to people and when we're doing it. So what I've done is not grown the most cotton or grown the most different cotton. I just took what I had and made something from it. And I know that's something, a story that we all can do. Because trust me, there ain't many products that's worth less value than a cotton stalk. However, before my grandfather died, and he died in 2017, I'm so proud that he saw the beginning of this business because I went to him one day and I said, "Grandpa, what do you think I'm gonna sell this piece of cotton for?" He said, "I don't know. What, 10 cents? I know you selling your products for this." I said, "No, $15. This is a boutonniere." He said, "Somebody will pay you $15 for one piece of cotton?" I said, "Not someone. People all across the country in every state." And that's been true. So while I couldn't produce those cotton balls as good as he can, I know I've been able to sell them in a way that he never imagined. And that's what we should be able to do with the internet. And that's what we should be able to do with the times we're in right now. Is what are the things that we can accomplish that we never truly could imagine? We didn't imagine sitting down in the homes for the last 2 years. But what can we do with this time? What can we do with what's around us? How do we make what's around us better? That's why I just want to, put this charge out to you because that's what I try to do with my family, my family farm, my family business. Now, let's get to these thank yous. My black cotton team, I'm so thankful for them. Jamal Garner, he's a Marine veteran. Andrita, Francesca, Kenya, Alex, Adaya, Cherie, it goes on. I have a lot of people that work with me. And, in today's world where there's worker shortages, anybody who's a boss will tell you that people don't work for you because of the amount of money you pay that you pay them. People work for you because they believe in you. Because, in regards to $10, $15 an hour, I've learned from my high school young people that work for me, they can go online and ask for their Cash App. But if you show them something that they're intrigued to being a part of, they will work harder for you than you'll ever imagine. And the young people today, they're less distracted than you will ever imagine. Sitting up in the house for a year and a half, you don't care about what's on the phone when you got something that's truly intriguing in front of you. So I wanted to make my work something truly intriguing that people can connect with. I don't even see my business as a business, but I see it as a movement. Now we do file taxes and we are an LLC. But our business and what we stand for is more important than even the products that we make, which we make cool products. And please visit us at blackcotton.us. You can see our wreaths. You can see our cotton jewelry. You can see our vase arrangements. And cotton decor has been wonderful for our business because it's all made in our community. It's created jobs in our community, and it's brought a good limelight to our community. I love seeing things come out of our community that's positive, So creating a business where people can support you across the nation, that's something powerful and something positive. And that's what I want to share with my community. Now, did I imagine when I first started putting cotton stalks in mason jars that people was going to respond the way they do now? I did not imagine that. But I knew I didn't want to give up on the ideal of making my cotton more valuable. And maybe that's what you got to do with your crops or whatever resources you're working with in life. How do you make it more valuable? At its latest point, don't think about how you got to raise millions of dollars to be able to do something. No, sometimes a lot of things can be done in research on YouTube University and your cooperative extension offices all across the country. just networking in general. There's so many powerful people that are willing to help you. So, like, for Black Cotton, I'm going to tell you what's been very important for us, my IG family. If you go follow us on Instagram, we have 11.9 thousand followers. But it's not just a number. Those people in that following. I have met some of the most amazing people from Baltimore, New York. We just had someone that come to our office from California last weekend. We have people that come to little old Garysburg, North Carolina, from all over the country. Matter of fact, we had a modeling troupe a couple of years that come from Miami, stayed 4 nights. It was the most amazing thing, that all the excitement they had for Garysburg, North Carolina. I'm like, wow, people from all over the country are coming here just because I showed them pictures of my cotton field. That's the origins. If you go all the way to the beginning of my IG, it started just showing some pictures of the cotton field. And I put a challenge out there because I was going to these conferences and speaking to groups like this. And I said, hey, if you're a Black guy and you got a cotton field, show it to me. And I just knew that I was going to get other cotton fields to come back. From that post, I've only had one other cotton farmer, Black cotton farmer, to show me their cotton field. One. And I've been putting a lot of them out there. So I've come to realize it's probably maybe 50 or 60 active Black men or Black families in the cotton business. And it's a shame, because when I was growing up, it was a big thing in our area. We've had tens of thousands of Black people, hundreds of thousands of Black people working in cotton, and it's dwindled down to less than 100. Now, when you think about clothing in the country, some of our African American celebrities push some of the hottest brands. Supreme, Nike, Beyonce, Jay-Z. And I say to myself, many of them that push these clothes, they have no idea what goes into clothes. Now, most of our cotton in the USA is being processed in Asia. There's a lot of human rights issues that's happening in Asia in regards to our clothes. It's a dirty business. Actually, in China and India, they're still hand-picking cotton. The thing we're so scared of is this trope that we're so afraid of. Our clothes still come from this system of people hand-picking it. But in America, we have the technology, but we also have the debt. This debt is a serious thing in agriculture. And debt's a serious thing in our nation in general. I don't know how we deal with that, but a lot of farmers are stressed out about this debt. But we got to be looking at how blessed we are, how much we work. Even schools like NC State has taught, get big or get out. So our farmers are more powerful, we are more educated, and more connected than we've ever been in our lives. I live in I live in Rich Square, a small little town, but I talk to people all across the country. I talk to people from Boston, New York, California, Washington State, every day. It's amazing to me how many people reach out to me from my little small cotton plot. I raise about 50 acres of cotton. I don't know any cotton farmers smaller than me. Like I said, I must be Ant-Man. People all across the country seem to be seeing me. And you all are here sitting today to listen to me, the Puff Daddy of Cotton, talk about my experience in cotton. Amazing. So to go back to where I began at, people that's helped me. NC State, North Carolina A&T, that's incredible connectivity and networks in our agricultural communities. The Agriculture Leadership Development Program that I'm a part of right now, I'm connected to agriculture leaders throughout the whole state. And that program is funded through the Tobacco Trust Fund Commission, which that group helped give me my whole career where I am right now. All the understanding I have about agriculture is from that first job, and understanding how politics moved in agriculture, how they made changes. And at that Golden Leaf and Tobacco Trust Fund Commission, I'm thankful for my career for them, because without them, I probably wouldn't be standing in front of you today. NC Farm Bureau, that's another group I want before I leave here. With their Young Farmer and Rancher State Committee and their program, the Young Farmer and Rancher program, I've met young farmers all across the state. But not only have I met young farmers all across the state, there's this thing that they have called discussion meet. Any of you all participate in discussion meet? Anyone? It's this thing, it's like a debate program, like a debate competition. But instead of who has the most points, it's about bringing consensus at your table. And the best person that brings the most consensus is the winner. And from that experience, I learned it's not all about having the most data or the most points, but it's about how you make people feel and bringing them together with issues. Now, I've always used that, and that's been something that's made me connect. Because Black Cotton, while I focus on the Black community, I want everybody to understand this. Black Cotton is for every community. I hope everyone can see a little bit of themselves in Black Cotton, because we're here to talk about rural improvement. We're here for our farmers. We're here for people coming together and looking at what used to be traumatic, changing our perspectives and seeing positive. I know President Friday will be proud of that. And by the way, I learned that one thing cool about President Friday was in Dr. Scheper, who does the tours of the Reynolds building and the tours of NC State. Reynolds Gym is the most popular building in the state. And I saw a picture of Friday, President Friday, with Dwight Eisenhower, the president. We've had 5 presidents speaking at NC State. So that's so much history with President Friday and all the stuff that's going on in the state. And I'm just excited to be a part of that and be connected to it, because it's meant so much to me, even in small ways, of even a parking space when I was at UNC. And to be here today to accept the award on his behalf, I'm just thankful, and I'm thankful you all for listening to me today. And I look forward to being able to connect with you all always in the future. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tillery. All right, so we are now going to move into our question and answer time. We welcome questions from all of you in our audience. Please come to either of these microphones that we are setting up at the front of the aisles. You can stand in line and ask the questions that you have. And I think we have about 15 minutes to take questions. I will start with the first question for you, Mr. Tillery.
Okay.
So as you were here and I was discussing with you before the event, you said that you draw out a lot of stories from people that see your work, and they just naturally come and tell you certain family stories about cotton and their experiences. So I was wondering, what is one of your favorite stories that you've heard from people that have come to talk to you about your work?
Oh, I've heard a lot of stories, cotton stories. The stories that excite me the most is people who used to pick cotton, and they knew they used to pick a lot of cotton. And so I had a family friend, who told me that when she was, after she used to pick a lot of cotton, she used to compete with her friends on who to pick the most cotton. And when she got older and she got out of the business and everything, when she used to drive by cotton fields, she would always just think about picking all this cotton. She'll see a full field and be like, how much cotton could I pick? Some people really embrace that. Some people worry about the trauma, about it was not much money in it or whatever, but some people just remember those times and have these fond memories of just harvesting and being close to the friends and family that they work with. So I like those stories.
Hello, Mr. Tillery. My name is David Sieg. I'm a Park Scholar in the class of 2025. And I'm curious, obviously when anyone's starting a business, there can be a lot of people who say no, or just this isn't going to work. Did you ever have to deal with that when starting up Black Cotton?
Absolutely. I actually I pitched the business before I sold my first home decor product in 2016 to a potential investor. I networked and got investors on the table, and I gave them an official pitch. And they loved my energy. They loved what I was presenting. And what they told me was I was making too many assumptions that people would care. And from that moment on, I said I wasn't going to pitch to any more investors. I was going to prove to them that people would care about Black cotton. And I think I've done that.
Hi, my name is Kennedy Phipps, and you mentioned that you had lived in Rich Square. My family is from Rich Square in Scotland.
Woo!
Yeah, so really small towns,
Uh-huh.
and I visit there quite a bit and know how small the community is. And I was just curious to know, how do you think Black cotton has affected the growth in these communities?
I don't know if our population has grown yet, but I can see our spirits grow. I can see people more involved in the community. Like, since I've been back in the community, my classmates and a lot of people my age, we starting to communicate more and want to be more involved in building things. Like, we helped put a track in Garysburg, in the town of Garysburg, that people walk it all the time. I get so excited when I see people walking it. And the smallest things mean a lot to me. Like, even starting a farmer's market, just to know that our community is eating healthier, which I picked a lot of salad greens constantly this week and last week, just to serve our greens to the community. But I want to be a part of the growth of us spiritually, more so than even just the population. I don't know if we've done enough to make our population grow, but I know our spirits is a little higher.
My name is Benzino, and I'm a senior in the Park Scholarships class majoring in conservation biology. And my question is, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing sustainable agriculture in North Carolina?
That's a good question. There's a lot of dynamics that's happening in sustainable agriculture that, one, we have to think about the cost. And sustainable agriculture is more popular now than it's ever been, especially in this COVID period, and thinking about where people are getting their food products from, and then trying to transport it as minimal as possible. I think the cost of our inputs in sustainable agriculture is something we need to think about as well, trying to make things as least expensive as possible. Because, like, when you think about it, why is organic products more expensive? You know what I mean? It's not like it's an additional technology going into it. So why would organic inputs be more costly than conventional inputs that have biotechnology in them? Doesn't make any sense. But then I also say, why is biotechnology so expensive? You spend all this research money, make it cheaper.
Hi, my name is Reagan Boostabad, and I'm a fourth generational farmer from Sampson County, small town. So I definitely relate to a lot of your experiences, and I will say it's very refreshing to hear from a lecturer that I can really relate to for the first time. So I do appreciate you coming. And my question is, so there's a lot of animosity behind being a farmer, and a lot of people in my generation right now don't want to say that they want to grow up to be a farmer. And so what is your approach for yourself as well as for a young person like myself to bring back respect and power to that occupation, to help young people want to go back into that profession to build our agriculture instead of dwindling down?
Well, one thing our generation understands is social capital. With social media, we understand the value of our social capital. And being a farmer really increases your social capital. Being a farmer in a community makes you a trusted individual for a lot of time, a lot of appearances. Also, our farmers typically, now in modern world, typically the people who inherit land are your smartest family members, your most accomplished family members. So if you own farmland, that must mean that your family must thought that you was worthy of owning it. Or you had enough money to buy it, so that means you're really smart because you had enough money to be able to buy farmland. So I think we're changing how we look at a farmer, because becoming a farmer is harder, but being a farmer means that you probably have more accomplished and more education than what we traditionally thought of farmers in the 80s or the 70s, like when farmers was considered to be the least educated industry. Now our farmers, or many of them, are some of our most educated people. A lot of PhDs in agriculture, master's degrees in agriculture. So we're changing. We don't look the same anymore. Like, look at me. I'm just playing. Puff Daddy Cotton, though.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emma Grace. I'm a Park Scholar in the class of 2024, and I'm majoring in neurobiology. And my question to you is, where do you see the black cotton industry in 5 to 10 years, and what do you hope that its impact will be on the American and perhaps the global economy?
I could tell you this, in 5 to 10 years, you're going to see black cotton products involved in products. I won't say specifically which type of products, but you will see it in products in malls across the country. I feel like we're going to expand. I know we're going to expand. We've actually made some powerful partnerships that you will hear about later on in the future, probably next year or so. I can't speak too much on it now because of confidentiality stuff. But in the future, you will see black cotton in products in malls. That's my prediction. Across the country, we're growing. All right.
Hello, my name is Tobias Hullett. I'm a Park Scholar in the class of 2025, and a very common icebreaker question is, who's your hero? And I always have to mention George Washington Carver. And in a lot of ways, you remind me of a modern George Washington Carver. Of course, he worked mostly with peanuts, and you were working with cotton. I guess my question is, what has the Ant-Man of cotton developed to turn a 10-cent stock into a $15 product?
Make sure I get your question right. What
kind of products have you made from your cotton?
Oh, the wreaths, the jewelry, the vase arrangements. People like just thoughts. You know what? One beautiful thing that I do in working with creatives, if you give them the product, they'll create things, take pictures, and then post it, and I'll repost it like I made it. I didn't make it. Just use my cotton. So I've been involved in a lot of creative works that I don't create, but I give them the product that they make the end result.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm a Park Scholar in the class of 2025, and I was wondering, what do you feel the biggest obstacle is when anyone is starting a small business or a startup, especially not coming from a place of influence or knowledge in that area?
Marketing is something that a lot of small businesses talk about. But let me tell you, and I'm a witness of this. So my buddy Roderick, he's a young farmer, like I said. He's younger than me, and he's farming. He said, man, I'm having a tough time marketing my products. And I told him, have you tried Instagram? It's free. Facebook is free. You know, don't be afraid to connect to different communities using what is free right now. And Facebook, you could take a good picture, put the right hashtags, then looking at hashtags, see who using the hashtag as well, like they stuff, so then they see you, so then they'll go back to your page. There's a lot of games you can play in connectivity, but marketing is one of them. And marketing is a lot easier than you think, but it's tough. You got to stay with it. You got to be committed. Like when I first started posting on social media, I would post once to twice a day, multiple times a day. Now, there's a thing called attention economy. You don't want to post 25, 30 things a day. You lose people interest. But you want to post your most attractive and your most solid concepts and things once or twice a day and get it out there. Start tagging people. You'll be surprised how people connect with you if you consistently make it part of yourself.
Thanks so much for being here. My name is Margaret Borden. I'm a Park alum from the class of 2015. And I am a math educator and currently in work doing entrepreneurial-based challenges for our students with justice angles. And something that really struck me about what your work is that you are advocating on behalf of vulnerable communities, specifically your community, and you're using your products and your work to make visible some of these issues that are happening in your community. And I was wondering if you could tell us more about the impacts you've seen, maybe in government or in policies or in the extension, cooperatives. I don't know where you've seen them, that's why I'm asking. But what kinds of impacts you've seen across our nation in regards to your goals of uplifting the Black community and the agriculture community in general?
Okay, now some things I've changed that it's not policy-wise, but something that there's thought about. There's a lot of urban Black people. Every day they wake up, they walk around on lands that are controlled and owned by white people. Imagine living in a city like Atlanta, which is a lot of Black people there, and not feeling like you've ever walked on a land that was controlled by Black people. One experience that really touched me is I had a gentleman, a rapper from Atlanta, come to my farm, and he did a music video. And afterwards, he said, can we, as a group, pray? And after we did a prayer, and then he broke down crying. And I said, what's wrong, buddy? And he was like, man, this is the first time in my life I've walked around feeling like a free Black man. And you know, sometimes I see these youth groups that come to my farm, and to see young people like Raleigh. I've had groups from Raleigh and Wendell. They would get to the farm, or even Charlotte. They would get to the farm and just run around, just running fast and far as they can. And for some people, they've never even had that experience. Just limitless freedom. And in the Black community, I want more of our people to be able to feel that way. And that's the way I try to add to the environmental world, is we should be able to connect to nature where we feel like we're in tune with each other and we can freely move without feeling some social pressure or some oppression that we don't even know how to explain. But the reason we don't know how to explain it because we never walked in a place where we owned. So that's one thing I know that I feel a change in, is people just being able to take ownership in walking in the spaces that their feet is in, you know, knowing that they're comfortable. Yeah.
My name's Mason. I was wondering, as a North Carolinian living in Raleigh, how can I do a better job of supporting supporting North Carolina farmers?
Ooh, that's easy. You know, our farmers markets, you know, that's a good place to really connect with farmers. That's a lot of farmers online. You know, following farmers. I tell people all the time, if you can't buy my product, if you like a post, that might lead me to a sale. You'll be surprised how much those likes matter to a business person. So if you want to support local businesses, just follow and add some likes to it, you know, because that can connect you to your next customer, and that means a lot to a business person.
Thank you.
I have a question. My name is Sarah, and I work here. So you are involved in a lot of things in your community and in the state of North Carolina, aside from running your own small business. I'm interested in what compelled you to take on leadership roles and what your goals are and sort of what the end game is. How are you reaching your community through those venues?
So I don't try to advertise myself as a person that wants to be the leader. But sometimes, like if you ever played sports and you become the captain of the team, it's typically because your teammates stand behind you. You know, and I've been in a lot of spaces where people like to stand behind me because of the reality I bring to the table. I don't try to just come from an academic point of view or I've read this book point of view, but I try to come from a point of view of I've seen this work here, I've watched this work there. That's why I try to connect to so many people so then I can talk about real life experiences, and that means a lot to a lot of people, especially in the North Carolina ag community. Because, you know, hearsay and read say don't mean as much as I know Johnny from this town and he does that. Any more questions? Oh, got one.
I don't want to waste the opportunity if there's going to be silence. I'm Ricky Bloomfield, class of 2002, so before a lot of these people were born. My question, for any entrepreneur when you're starting a business, you're never for sure if it's going to be successful. And what was that point for you when you realized, yeah, this thing's going to work, this thing is going to be sustainable?
That's a good question. Well, I've been working it, this business and working it for a while, but I would think once the news cameras and the news media really started following me, I remember my good friend Deborah Holt-Noel. There's a lot of media journalists I would reach out to and talk with, and they knew about what I was doing. But I remember when I started getting hot in some of the media, I did like Now This Media and another media came, and I was on News and Observe. It happened all at one time. Because sometimes when you're a small business person, you want that attention. You're trying to reach out to it, and they might not have it might not be in a place for you to get their attention. But I remember when it was my time, Deborah Holt-Noel sent me a message and said, "It's your time. You ready to come on PBS?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So, if you build your business up and do enough work, and you got enough people attention, the media will let you know it's your time. That's what I've kind of found out, because they would try to schedule interviews with you.
Great, thanks.
Hi, my name is Aries Grice, and I was wondering, how do you believe that your business, Black Cotton, can impact the next generation of Black students?
Wow, that's a great question. The young people, they give me so much energy and how much focus they show into it. I always focus on trying to get young people involved in the business because I didn't want them to be scared of cotton. I didn't want them scared to try to sell something they never sold before. I love the energy of the young people and the creativity because y'all grew up with the internet and you understand the value of social marketing and social media. And like I said, social capital is very important to a business like this because I can only produce with so much cotton. However, I can make my cotton scalable in a niche way. So I think it's important that we create new avenues and niches that young people can watch this and understand how to create niches. Because we're in a niche world now with the internet, anybody can create their own path lane. And I think young people, when they recognize that for what they learn in production, they can create their own avenues, and that's going to be more opportunities. It's not a get big or get out game anymore. It's about create your niche, produce it, and market it well game now.
You have shown the pillars of the Park Scholarship. We can tell that from your talk. How does your business help the character development of the people who come into your arena?
Wow, I'm gonna tell you, when I first got my office in 2018 in Garysburg, the people that was on my team, they liked what I was doing. They was interested in it. But everybody who was serious about the black cotton business, they became better. All our teammates, we became more in shape. We started, communicating better. We started really researching, trying to make our work more efficient. Typically, people, when they are part of a movement, not just a business, but something they feel like it's making a change in community, they want to make sure that that betters them. So they want to be the best person themselves. So I've seen that when people are really dedicated to what they're doing, they're going to make themselves better to add value to my business. Because my business wouldn't be what it is if it was just me working on it. But my team had to get better and become better leaders at all their aspects as well. And I just appreciate the buy-in that people give. Because if you truly believe in something, you don't just show up, but you show up on time, you show up ready to be able to make things happen. And that happens organically. Like my team, we all wake up earlier now to check with each other more. We know our conversations are different. So when people are bought in, they want to be better to make the business better.
Unfortunately, we are now out of time. We welcome you to join our reception upstairs and outside in the Oval to meet Mr. Tillery and maybe ask that last question. We now are going to ask the Park Class of 2022 to please come to the stage for a photo with Mr. Tillery, and thank you everyone so much for coming out today.
Thank y'all, everyone.